Hey guys.
Hello, hello.
Hey.
Let me get started or what? There we go.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know how long this is going to take. It's maybe fast or quick, I guess. I don't think I've done this before. Have I done this before? So we'll see. Anyways,
It's going to be great, Bobby. We're so excited.
all
Yeah,
right. Well,
don't
the
be
excitement
nervous. It's
helps.
just us.
Am I nervous right now? All right. I won't be.
You're good.
I will share my screen. Okay, let me start my, I don't have everything ready. All right, let me share my screen. Okay, let's see here. This is the screen. Second, I got everything good here. All right. Oh, wait, where am I at?
You have permissions to okay, God, you're good.
All right, cool. I'll just present, share. Oh, wait, presenter mode. There's like a present mode, right? Present this, and then I don't need this thing. Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. Today we're talking about SEO, SEO 101. This is part one of I think a two-part series. I think we should be able to figure out SEO fundamentals and everything in two parts. So SEO 101, part one. Here we go. All right. So when you're using Google, you must understand the concept of indexing. When you're searching the web, you're searching the web. When you're searching inside Google, you're searching or browsing inside Google's index. All right. This is a word that you guys need to be familiar with because we use the word indexing often. All right. So when you're searching inside Google, you're searching inside Google's index. All right. So what does that visually look like? All right. So Google's index, right? So this is the World Wide Web, right? The World Wide Web has tons of millions and millions and billions of websites, right? Google has their own index of websites, right? They pull and crawl websites and they add it to their index. Bing has their own index. Yandex, which is Russia's search engine, has their own index. DuckDuckGo, Brave, or Brave's a browser, sorry. All these other search engines, DuckDuckGo, yeah. And I think China has a search engine. All these other search engines, whatever you hear the word search engine, Yahoo, they have their own index. And that index pulls from the World Wide Web. All right. So this is an important concept to know. All right. So when you're searching the web, you're searching the web. When you're searching inside Google, you're searching inside Google's index, not the web. Okay. So again, Google is constantly crawling the web and adding stuff to its index. It's a search engine. So remember, it wants to be the main and best search engine. So it wants to crawl as much of the web as possible and add it to its index. It wants to have a big, massive index. And it wants to do that in an efficient manner because it does cost Google's resources. It costs Google money, energy, data to crawl the web nonstop. So you want to make your site easy for Google to crawl. That's why Google's always building all these data centers all the time because they have to constantly crawl the web and store that data. Again, so here's a visual of that, right? Remember, this is Google's index and these little spiders, right? They call these Google bots, crawlers, spiders. They're crawling the web. This is their job 24/7, nonstop. They just crawl websites and add it to Google's index and decide what to add to Google's index. They analyze it and they figure out and how to evaluate it, each website, each web page, and they add it to the index. Okay. So this is an important framework to think about when you guys are think about SEO, right? We're adding stuff to the index. All right. We're playing within Google's rules and framework. Now, how do these crawlers work? Well, Google aims to have these crawlers to be as similar like humans as possible in how they scan and analyze and understand information, right? These spiders are just like humans, right? Imagine someone reading a web page. Spiders the same thing. They just scan and crawl a web page, right? That's how they understand the web page. That's how they add to the index. So if these crawlers are trying to understand what a web page is about, where and what will it look at to ingest such information, right? This Texas Advantage Roofing, right? Let's see. All right. So what does the spider see, right? What does it look like? What does it look like from their perspective, right? So let's go to this website here. This is Texas Advantage Roofing. This is one of our done for you website clients here, right? So what do the crawlers see, right? So when it crawls the website, it kind of this is what it looks like from their perspective. You see this? It's a title tag. Yeah, this is the title tag, meta description, the URL, right? Is sitting here, is trying to quickly figure out what this site is about. So it's going to scan through, right? And what are the big things? What are the 80/20? What does it pay attention to, right? It pays attention to the first thing, the title tag, right? What is it? If you're a spider and you're trying to figure out what this site is about, it's going to look at one really quickly, this title tag. Next, it's going to look at the URL. And next, it's going to look at the H1 tag or the headers, right? Actually, this is not a good, we should use this extension. Let's use this one. The headers, the H1 tag, right? So really, this is actually a key point. The 80/20 of on-page SEO is the title tag, the URL, and the H1 tag, right? When a spider crawls the website or crawls a page and tries to quickly understand what it's about, it's going to look at those 3 points right here. The title tag, URL, and the H1 tag, the headers, right? It's going to just scan down and that's what it does, right? So when you're building web pages or when you build websites, you ask yourself, all right, if I want what do I want my website to be about? I want to put my important keywords in those sections, right? So in this case here, Texas Advantage Roofing, Houston Roofing Company, Houston Residential Roofing Company. We want to sprinkle those phrases in those spaces here, right? The H1 tag, if we can, the URL, the title tag here, right? You can kind of compare this to like a store, right? If you're driving down the street and you want to quickly see what a store's about, you look at the sign, right? It's like Little Caesar's Pizza, right? That's like the title tag, right? You walk in the store, you see like a sign, the menu, right? Kind of like you visualize it, think in the same framework again. So when we think about when we're doing SEO for our web pages, we want to ask ourselves, all right, what are the sections that are most important that we want to convey, what our web page is about? All right, so I'm thinking too far off tangent here. So, anyways, again, this is what it looks like from the spider's perspective, right? They scroll down, they scan, this is kind of what they see here, right? So the title tag, this actually, I need to get rid of this. I need to fix this title tag, the H1 tag, and these headers here, right? Okay. So now, when someone is searching inside Google for residential roofing company in Houston, Texas, Google wants to know what website, what it can offer, what results it can offer for whoever is searching, right? So let's go to this, right? So someone's searching for residential roofing company in Houston, Texas, right? Google wants to figure out, okay, what is this person looking for, right? What is this person searching for, right? Whoever's searching this, what type of web pages should we give them? All right. Well, we should give them some Google Maps listings. I guess probably a Yelp directory, a comparison page, a list of pages to roofing companies to compare. Listicles, we call these. A roofing company, actual Houston roofing companies here, right? Google's trying to figure out of all the available things in its index, all available web results, what should we serve to this keyword, right? To this user searching, right? Looks like some UGC content Reddit here, right? So this is important, right? If you're trying to figure out what keywords, if you want to figure out how to rank higher for a keyword, you want to ask yourself, okay, well, if I want to rank for this keyword, residential roofing company, Houston, Texas, what types of pages and sites can realistically rank? Okay, a business profile, Google Maps listing, like a Yelp directory listing, a company website, another listicle, company website, UGC content, I think Reddit, yeah, again. So you want to ask yourself, okay, these are the type of web pages that are ranking for this keyword. So I need to be able to at least be one of these web pages. I need to figure out how to be one of these web pages and serve and rank in this and to be on this first page. Google's always wanting to prioritizing the most relevant result. It wants to figure out the intent of this user. This user is looking for literally a roofing company, and it wants to figure out, give them, okay, how do we help this person find a roofing company? So they're going to give a Yelp directory, company websites, other listicles, UGC, Reddit, UGC content, user generated content. Oh, okay, great. Any questions so far?
I love all
Yeah.
the analogies and the visuals, Bobby. Really, really helps a lot.
Nice, guys. I'm glad. Everyone following along so far, does this all make sense? Is this helpful?
Bobby, question for the Texas Advantage website.
Yep.
When you're looking at the structure of the H of the header tags,
Hmm.
is there a reason why you skip the H3 underneath the H2s?
Is there a reason why I skipped the H tree?
Like you know how there are H4s underneath the H2s?
Yeah. N Not a specific reason. Yeah, in a deal world, actually, yeah, I guess it was just I had a lot of work, a lot of pages. Like in an ideal world, I would take time and try to like really, like, yeah, this should actually should be H. There should be some like this should be a little bit better organized. Truthfully, this is on me. This needs to be a little bit better optimized. But really, though, like when the spider just wants to get enough information about this web page, right? Once it scrolls the H1 tag, the URL, the title tag, it has enough information to know, okay, I know what this web page is about.
Yeah. Yeah, the
You know,
H1s and 2s are definitely the most important. I was just curious if it was like a if it was a new thing that I didn't know about, if H3s weren't as important for the site structure. I was just curious.
no, I mean, like in a
But I know
perfect world,
H1s and
ideal
2s are
world, yeah,
important.
we'd organize it better, we'd have it clear, right? But right now, we just really want to satisfy the spider, right? The spider, okay, this is a residential roofing company in Texas, and as long as I feature those words or phrases in the H1 tag and the URL, the title tag, that's enough for the spider and the user to understand, okay, this is what that web page is about, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does that make sense? Okay.
H H3s and fours would be the advanced SEO package that we'll get to at a
Yeah.
later meeting.
I like the minute details there, right? You would have like in a perfect world, you could probably put, I don't even know what you'd put, like maybe storm services, H1. Like I don't know what it would make sense to put here, truthfully. I have to really think about this. But yeah.
That's part
Any other
two.
any other questions here? This is break time. Yeah, I had this slide for break. Any other questions about anything I've talked about so far? I guess I could have done two parts, huh? Damn. Okay. All right, I guess I'll keep going. Okay. I guess I don't have much more really. So we now have an idea of what it do to get indexed by Google and to be presentable. Remember, we want to make the life of the crawlers easy to understand and index the websites, right? So, if someone is searching for roofing company Houston, Texas, what do you want to do to show up? Okay, you want to be easily presentable, right? You want to have like a title tag, the URL, your web page, easily like make it very easy for the crawler to understand what your website is about, right? What's the main thing that you want to be known for to Google into Google, right? It wants to be accessible, right? So it has to be easily organized, right? The site should load fast, right? This image, nothing heavy, no videos, right? The site should load quickly. Remember, Google has to spend resources and build these data centers to crawl these web pages. So you don't want to make the life of the spider hard. You want to make it very easy. So it needs to be able to crawl it fast. And it needs to be trusted, right? This is actually more part two. This is link. This is like we're talking about link building stuff now. Authority, right? This is another part, right? This is the second part of SEO. Um, yeah. So okay, yes, okay. That's actually that's it. SEO 101. That's part one. I guess this was quicker than I thought. Uh, Open discussion or stuff, I guess. We have
I have
15
a
minutes.
question, Bobby.
Yep.
What about and I've gotten this question before in the either when we're doing like audits or on the sales side of things. What about, well, I am an exteriors company. I don't offer just roofing. Um,
Hmm.
how do you shift in being like easily presentable when you've got multiple services?
Question. Good question. How do I make this website show for multiple things, right? Right. Okay. So, right. So you have to look at it from Google's perspective. Google's going to categorize your site as one primary thing, right? Now, if I want to show extra things, then I have to kind of build out those pillars, kind of, right? Build out. So let's say, who is a company that does multiple things? Let's talk about Duraplex. They do roofing. All right, Duraplex is a good example. All right, let's go to Duraplex. All right, so Duraplex, they offer roofing, windows, doors, and sidings, right? So their homepage would be roofing. Then we would have to build out another page for Windows, right? So this whole thing right here, this page right here, Elizabeth, is like a whole nother almost like separate section, right? So we kind of have to build out the authority for this page. We have to do the SEO for this page, this kind of section, right? And this would rank for Windows searches, right? Uh, Um, um, yeah, so the question is, how do I get our website to rank for multiple things here? You kind of have to like build out, you have to literally just do SEO for this section, this page, and then you have to do like the off page, the link building stuff, which comes in part two. Does this help, Elizabeth, or is there still some disconnect? Does this help clarify things or
Yeah. Yeah. So then on your homepage, instead of each of the individual pages, you would still recommend having like would you recommend calling it like an exteriors company or naming each of those individual services? Like instead of exteriors, it's siding, roofing, gutters, windows.
so in this situation, so let's take Duraplex for example. If I was Duraplex, I would have the homepage be a roofing company. So Duraplex is a roofing company that happens to offer these other extra services, right? So in this case here, right, the homepage would be, I would actually change it to be roofing only. And then the side pages, if we go to like Windows pages, then the Windows pages would be Windows and Windows only. And then the siding pages would be siding and the sidings only. Does that help clarify, Elizabeth?
So it's like cleaner in terms
Yes.
of indexing. Gotcha. Okay. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, yep. Yeah, that's it. Uh,
Bobby, they would actually rank higher for roofing if they just made their homepage roofing, because now Google specifically categorizes it as just the if someone's looking up like roofing company New Jersey, it's no longer
mhm.
looking at that H1 being the exterior solutions for New Jersey, but it's roofing New Jersey specifically. So that keyword like search query is more relevant in terms of like indexing for Google's eyes, you might say.
So they would rank higher. Sorry, let me ask the question. I'm trying to figure out, ask the question again, if
So
you don't mind.
other companies in New Jersey that mainly specialize in roofing or just have roofing as like their H1 homepage
Hmm.
H1, essentially they are going to most likely rank higher for that specific search query of like roofing companies New Jersey because they
Yeah,
are specifically tailored to roofing in their
that's
H1. So when Google looks at exterior solutions, for example, they might not be ranking as high for like roofing companies near me because now Google's looking at this as an exterior solutions company, not necessarily roofing New Jersey company in that search query.
that.
Do you know what I mean?
You're right. That's actually that framework. You're that's accurate, Coleman. Right. So in this
Yeah.
case here, if someone searches for like roofing Monument, New Jersey, right? It'll probably the number one result will probably be a company that specifically and only does roofing that's decently trusted, and then the number two or three result might be these guys, right? Right.
Yeah.
That's how it may work. It may do that. So yeah.
For example, I had a client, Viatel Roofing. They built a new homepage last August, and their H1 was like quality and resilience. That was their H1 title of their website. And for
Mhm.
like 3 months straight, I just kept telling the owner, Anthony, like, you need to change that H1 to have some sort of roofing services in there and
Mhm.
location. And like, he was just like, no, the SEO agency is telling me like it's okay, like it's fine. It's all gonna be fine. And then 3 months after, because their authority score was a 2 for so long, they swapped it out, and like in a month, their authority score jumped from a 2 to like a 10 just from having like quality professional roofing company in, Salt Lake City, Utah. So it's crazy how much the H1 of a homepage can really,
Yep.
change SEO.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, right? You got to think about it from the spy. Like if you're trying to analyze this site really quickly, what are you going to pay attention to? The same
Yeah.
thing, right? The title tag, the URL, the H1, right? That's what you're going to look at here. These big things here. That's what the spider looks at here, right? That's how it thinks, right?
Yeah.
It's
That's
so
I love it. I nerd out about it and like Bobby, what I commented in here earlier. I typically when I'm explaining the H1 stuff because I thought you did the title tags, you explained it perfectly. And the way I explain it to some of our like training clients is when you're looking at like a book, for example, like a title of a book. Essentially, you
Hmm.
look at like the title of the book, but you can't if I were to look at a title of a book, I couldn't tell you exactly what is in that book. I can tell you an idea of what that book's about, but I'm gonna have to read like the table of contents or chapters to really give you an idea of what you're gonna look for essentially in that book. And then if you read the chapter, you can explain more about that chapter. But the chapter of that, I mean, the title of that chapter will give you an idea of what you're gonna learn in that chapter.
Mm.
So if you, for example, when you're looking at a book and you're looking for a marketing book, you're not going to pick up a book that says biology, right? Like marketing is going to somewhat be in the title of that book if you're looking for a marketing book. And then if you're looking for like Google Ads, for example, you're not going to look at the chapter that says, community marketing.
That's right.
You're going to be looking at the Google Ads chapter. Same exact thing that Google's crawlers do to a website. Essentially, when you're looking up that search query, like roofing company that does windows, for example, the Windows page of the website, if titled properly as an H1, should get pulled by the crawlers by Google if it's titled correctly in a way. And then like that
That's
that analogy for people they go like, oh, that makes a lot of sense why we should be titling these things correctly,
that's
just to
right. That's
be able to navigate.
Yep, that's 100%. The only thing you have to kind of worry about, like, you won't get put like you don't want to sometimes you want to kind of keep it natural, like like some people make the mistake of like in this case you'd be roofing company New Jersey, roofing company New Jersey in the URL, roofing company New Jersey in the H1. Like you don't want to like look at too, but you want to kind of keep it natural. Like Google, it won't hurt you. Google won't penalize you. It just doesn't look good. Like Google's just like I kind of see what you're doing, right? So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works. But yeah, how the book actually the book analogy is also another good way to think about and visually think about this. Um, I freak, I think I forgot to record this thing. Damn. Oh well. Um,
Yeah, we're recording.
yeah. Oh, it's recording?
Yep.
Oh, nice. All right. Any more questions? I guess we have 7 more minutes. Yeah, I guess I guess, yeah, maybe I could have gone the whole thing here in 130 minutes.
I have a
Yes.
question,
Sid.
Bobby. Um, Obviously, like AEO is a really big topic for roofing contractors. Right now, it's something that we're finding people are asking about a ton. Um, and of course, like there are differences between AEO and, SEO and whatnot. But in a previous conversation, you were sharing a little bit about like the knowledge graph with Google. Would you mind like walking us through um like kind of some of the like major shifts that you're kind of seeing with Google right now? And I know that you're probably going to get pretty deep into that next week, but I'm curious if you'd be willing to give us like a high level overview of what that knowledge graph kind of shift looks like.
Yeah, I had to find that thing. I'm trying to figure out, do I have a visual on hand that I can show you guys? Because I need to explain that concept, we needed visuals for that. And I think I do actually.
Um,
I just referenced that visual I shared with you,
do
mastering.
you want me
Yes, I
to
do.
share the one that you shared with me?
Got it. I do have it. All right, great. Okay,
Okay, cool.
great. Knowledge graph. All right, cool. So yeah, this is kind of leaking into part two here, right? So now, all things being equal, right? Let's say we have two web pages that both say the same thing, roofing New Jersey, right? We got to go to like the off-page stuff here, right? So Google has to decide now. Google, the shift is Google. Um, I'm just gonna say stuff. Hopefully, this stuff makes sense. So before like people just focus on just trying to rank your website, right? You just want to rank your website in Google here. Now you don't want to think about just ranking your website. You kind of want to rank your whole online presence here. And when we say your online presence, what does that mean? Your website, it could be your YouTube page, your Facebook page, a podcast. It could be presence on other news sites here, right? Remember, I showed you earlier on that roof residential, right? We have a Reddit listing here, right? The thing here is right now the big SEOs they don't care about just trying to rank the website. They just want to get visibility on the first page. whether it be through a YouTube page, a channel, or a Reddit thread, or a podcast or Facebook. They just want to get on the first page somehow. And that's how we want to think about things here, right? We want to think about, or that's how the advanced SEOs are thinking. Is like, okay, I just want to have my whole online entity, my whole presence ranked, right? So if Google is saying when people search for residential roofing company Houston, Texas, and it wants to see a Reddit listing, it wants to see a Yelp listing, it wants to see a Gap listing, then the SEOs, the advanced ones, like, okay, I want to have a listing on the Yelp page, I want to have a listing on this Gap page, and I want to have visibility on this Reddit thread, and I'm going to see if I can get my website up there too. Right, that's how the advanced SEOs. I want my whole online presence. I want to optimize everything and get a chance on the first page for every keyword. I want to take up as much real estate as possible on that first page. So yeah, the knowledge graph is a little bit more. I don't think I want to talk about the knowledge graph too much yet, but I want to talk more about this entity thing, this whole online footprint. Sid, does that help answer and clarify things a little bit instead?
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that was like a really huge takeaway from some of our previous conversations between you and I was just like the difference between the sole focus being on ranking a website versus how Google is actually now like modeling kind of what like AI is doing in terms of the knowledge graph and accessing all of these different platforms
Hmm.
in order to source information, and how that really, really impacts SEO for a lot
Yep.
of folks. So yeah, I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Actually, I can now that I was trying to figure out how to explain the knowledge graph. You're right. Yes. So we have a couple minutes. I can explain it. So the knowledge graph here, right? So there's like this. So the wiki data. How does Google? How does Yahoo? How does Bing? When something is talking about an app, when a web page is talking about an apple, how does it know it's talking about a fruit or it's talking about the brand, the tech company, right? Well, there's this knowledge graph, there's this thing out there that exists that kind of explains what these concepts are, right? And it kind of looks like this visually, right? An apple is healthy. If it's talking about the fruit, it's gonna this knowledge graph. There's these other things that are connected to it. It has this little type. It's a type of food. The food's a fruit category. Is I don't know how to. I'm just gonna say stuff. I don't know. Hopefully, this explain it right. But Google and these other indexes, they kind of scan this knowledge graph here, right? If it's trying to figure out, okay, this web page is talking about is this web page when they're talking about Apple, are they talking about the food or are they talking about the company? It's going to look at the stuff that thing is connected to. That text is connected to these other words, right? It's going to look at these other words that it's connected to. It's going to look at other pages that are linking to this page, and then it kind of figures out, oh, okay, this is what they're talking about here, right? So. Um, so yeah, so I guess, the advanced SEOs, what people are doing nowadays, if they're as they're trying to rank higher, they're trying to influence this knowledge graph. They're trying to, build these other pieces here, right? Um, this is quite advanced, I guess. Um, Maybe I shouldn't have gone into this, but anyways, yeah, just know that there's like there's the Wikipedia. There's a thing called Wikidata. This is kind of how those search the Google and these other search engines kind of figure out like what stuff means, what stuff is about, right? Um, yeah, and so how you influence that knowledge graph, you influence it through your website, through Wikipedia, through Wikidata, your Google Business Profile, Reddit. So. Anyways, I guess the key thing is the main thing for everyone, for you guys, for it to take away here is that when you're trying to do SEO nowadays, is don't think about just trying to rank your website. Just think about how do I get on the first page, period. Whether it be through my YouTube channel or this other web page that's already ranking that happens to mention other brands, or my podcast or Reddit thread. That's the game, is how do we get on the first page, period. Not just on the web through my website. How do we get on the first page, period? And that's what advanced SEOs are thinking about. All right.
I love
That's
it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's it. That's SEO part one, guys.
Thank you
Um,
so much, Bobby. This is great.
hopefully,
Yeah,
no
thank you,
problem.
Bobby.
Yeah, do you guys is that all? I guess any more questions? Are we good now?
All good. Yeah. Looking forward to part two.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everyone. And yeah, part two next Monday.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Bobby. This is
Bobby.
awesome.
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 Bye,
All right.
y'all. Thanks, Bobby.